People power growth, but recruiting and onboarding are expensive, exhausting, and absolutely overwhelming. I've been there, and it doesn't have to be this way. Welcome to Hire and Empower. I'm your host, Molly McGrath. Join me as we interview leaders who care about their teams and distill powerful lessons from them. This show is sponsored by H&E, helping organizations to find their best hire and empower them for success. Learn more at hiringandempowering.com. All right, my oh my, can you believe it is the end of the year already? Hopefully you all are spending time on strategic retreats, planning for 2023, and making certain you have time for celebration and reflection. Today, we are talking about employees. Your boss is not a mind reader. 10 things to stop doing right now. As employees, you have to remember that your boss, your attorney, your leaders may be a lot of things, an attorney, an entrepreneur, while at the same time serving as a CEO, CFO, CMO, CTO, CSO. But there is one thing your boss absolutely positively will never be, and that is a mind reader. And I hear often, especially just completing our 12-week law firm admin boot camp during open coaching hours, team would come every Thursday with, this is what I'm struggling with, here's what's going on. And at the core of it, I'm like, have you clarified? Have you verified? Came with proposed solutions? And it was like crickets. We really have to stop expecting anyone in our life, for that matter, but in particular, a highly voltage, busy, time-strapped entrepreneur and attorney to intuitively know what you need, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's going to set you up for disappointment, what you need to set you up for success. In a world of employee empowerment and self-advocation, that victimized mindset of he's just a bad boss is just like, it's not acceptable anymore. If you want to make more money, gain access to greater opportunities for leadership, employee development, get bonuses, raises, all those things that employees want, especially when you lock arms with a small business owner or boutique law firm. For your boss to finally do their job, here are some tips. I'll have 10 tips for you today to help you recognize that it absolutely, positively, wholly is your dream job that you've been promised. When I can find employees that will speak their truth and use their voice and come with proposed solutions, ideas, healthy pushback, it's a game changer. One of my favorite quotes from a movie called We Bought a Zoo is, all it takes is 20 seconds of insane courage. And that applies so much to the employees that I speak with. And for conversation purposes, when I use the word employee, I'm speaking to VAs, 1099 contractors, what have you. If you are being paid by an entrepreneur and you've made the decision to go work with a law firm, this message is for you today. So 10 tips. Number one, entrepreneurs can be short-sighted. It is not always obvious to them that they are blowing past deadlines, costing the firm money, killing the team at the 11th hour because they failed to plan sufficiently. As employees, it's our duty, and I cannot stress this enough. I hear from business owners all the time, I wish that somebody would just hold me accountable and manage the deadlines, manage the workflow, manage a process, manage all of it, the life cycle of the file. So they're giving you full permission to be clear, concise, and the bottom line with your communication and over communication. Passive aggression is a foreign language to most law firm leaders. They just are not picking up on the clues. And so often employees will try harder and harder with this thundering silence, or they just give up, or it is on you to continue to speak in a non-confrontational, honest, while respectful. We talk a lot about it in the law firm admin boot camp. Indirect, hope he or she gets it is not working. They are getting blindsided 24/7. You only see your perspective, or maybe your small team perspective. So don't assume that just because they're doing this, it's intentional. It's your job to be very clear. Are they missing deadlines? Well, I reminded them. Well, it's on their calendar. Well, I sent them a Slack or what have you. No, you have to go to them with the why. Okay, attorney, I need you to review these documents. We need to sign this contract. We need to terminate this vendor, whatever it might be. We have to get this client file handled because they've called 2, 3, 5 times. And for you to go in there and truly show up as a leader and communicate to them the impact and the outcome if they do not take action. They are not intentionally trying to be a bottleneck. They're not intentionally trying to avoid doing, and sometimes they may be avoiding or the procrastinating or what have you to do that one activity, especially based on their DNA, their Colby or what have you. They may be a high quick start, a high visionary, a high D on the disc, and the thing that they keep putting off are administrative tasks, and it sucks the life out of them. So going in there and saying, this is going to take you 45 minutes max. We've been putting it off for a week, for days, for hours, whatever it might be. Here is the impact if we don't just put ourselves in a quarantine box. I'll sit here with you. Give me your cell phone. Let's go in the conference room. I have a sandwich, some water, some coffee for you. 45 minutes. This is a $10,000 file. I know it's overwhelming. You're afraid what you're going to open up. It's going to be a giant bomb in the file or whatever it might be. We have to address it. I put time on your calendar for tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'm going to have everything that you need to sit in there, and we're just going to lock arms and hunker down and get this done. While we do that, attorney, I'm going to sit there and make notes of what didn't work, where we violated process, where we're in need of a process, where somebody possibly delegated back up to you. Don't worry about it. We're just going to get in there, triage it, and we'll figure out and identify what the issues are. And then I will take it, bring it back to the team to create a process or to figure out what we can do to eliminate that going forward. It's your duty. Think about that, employees. I tell the team this in the law firm admin boot camp all the time. It's so hard. They're like, I tried that. I'm like, I bet my bottom dollar you didn't try it in that fashion. So our entrepreneurs are getting hammered all the time. They're short-sighted. There's no ill will behind their blowing off, whatever it might be, and not making decisions and deferring and deflecting. It's our job to step up and lead. And that's what I hear from attorneys all the time that they are begging for. Number 2, ask for what you need, period. Clear, concise, and well communicated. If you need a high-end printer, a $300 wireless headset, a new laptop, communicate the cost to your boss and explain why it's necessary. Your boss is not the one running off a 150-page document and an hour before that important client meeting that it's constantly jamming up and we have to kick it and it's duct taped and whatever else the stories that I hear. Bosses don't notice the lost time and efficiency of doing things the cheap way or not investing in new technology or whatever it might be. I had so many people showing up complaining that they don't have the equipment they need to do their job, or they don't have the space to be able to do things. Your boss wants to know that you are able to do your job at maximum capacity without a tremendous amount of headache and heartache, and you will get what you need to do so within reason, of course. I had somebody show up in the boot camp and they're so frustrated because of this old printer that they have and scanner that they have. And every single time, and the reason we're not processing files, the reason we're not closing files is because this printer and this scanner is a piece of junk and it's taking forever. And every time I do it, I'm like, have you had that conversation with your boss? They're like, well, they know, they see us sweating bullets. I watch them walk up and use the machine. I'm like, yeah, but they're printing 2 pages, not 120 pages. And if they knew this was occurring, they'd be absolutely horrified. I've heard this so often on my one-on-one calls where people are saying, well, I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. Well, go get what you need. So ask for what you need. You all know, every person listening to this, team members, employees, you have a list of those things that you need to set up your environment, your office, your technology, your workspace for efficiency. So share it. One of the things we have in the law firm admin bootcamp is every week on the weekly stakeholders meeting, we have a section at the end of it to talk about what's working, what's not working in regards to technology. Where are we at? What do we need? I make them identify office equipment, technology, systems, process, the environment. I had somebody who was not doing workshop follow-up calls because it was too noisy in their area. They were sitting at the reception desk, do it. I'm like, go ask your attorney, since they're in back-to-back meetings in their conference room, if you can sit in their office and do follow-up calls and shut the door during the conference, during their consultations when they're in the conference room. And the attorney was like, oh my goodness, yes. Why I can't even believe that it took you this long to even ask for that. It's brilliant, first of all. And 100% you can do that. In fact, I'm going to give up my office. I had one firm say that, one attorney says, and that's going to hold me accountable to get out of the office and do networking and marketing and power partner meetings, etc. Number 3, I want you to start having in your vocabulary, we worked a whole module on this, in your vocabulary to learn to stop saying yes to everything or making up information. When your boss, your entrepreneur, your attorney asks you, where are we at with workshop numbers? How many consultations do we have? Did you get the follow-up calls? All the things they do when they're running in between meetings, grab a glass of water, use the restroom, grab a cup of coffee or what have you. We all know it's these hallway conversations, these drive-by conversations that they ask number and we feel caught off guard. We weren't prepared. We don't have the accurate data. So I want you all to really exercise right now to say, have this in your language. I'm not prepared to answer or respond to that right now. Let me get the information and can I get it to you by X? That is an absolutely acceptable answer. In fact, the confidence that will go through the roof with your boss will be, wow, instead of getting inaccurate information. So often people will say, well, we have about 10. And then they get into the weekly meeting where they're looking at KPIs and reporting. We see we have 2, or I think we have about 20. And then they show up at the workshop or what have you, and there's 5 people there. Or they see that the calendar is empty when people are saying, yeah, I've been making follow-up calls, etc. But I was only able to make 1 this week because at my desk is a dumping ground for everybody. This information, this is data. Entrepreneurs and attorneys love, 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 love data. So stop making shit up because you feel like you're caught off guard and you should know the number. I think if your sentence even starts with, I think, you do not have the data and the information in a wholly accurate answer. So it is, and if you want, go back to your next team meeting and say, I want to make a rule for all of us. When we ask questions and we fire off questions when we're running through the hall or slacking or boxering or texting, whatever we do, it is a leadership response to say, I'm not prepared to answer or respond right now. I don't have the data. That tells me, wow, and I will get you the data is by X, and then make certain that you follow up. Your possibilities and your ability to grow by using these adult responses, these board of director responses, these CEO responses will increase everybody's confidence. And when your boss has increased confidence on the way you do things, how you do things, how you respond, this is when they start to let go. Because they're like, wow, that's how I would have answered that. That's a real CEO response. That's and whether you're the receptionist or paralegal or what have you. Number 4, come to your boss with a problem only if you want help solving it. That's what entrepreneurs do. That's what attorneys do. They are trained to issue spot and to solve problems. Digging for sympathy or complaining about a coworker without a clear ask or a request and or a proposed solution, you're not part of the solution. You're not a value creator. You're just delegating back up. And that's where their frustration comes and where they start to avoid and blow off deadlines or blow off meetings or what have you. So come only to your boss with an issue or a problem if you want help solving it, and frame the conversation and frame the ask or the deliverability in it with a real leadership language and saying to him, okay, great. Here, I have a problem, an issue. Here's where I'm stuck. This is what I'm thinking. I need your expertise. I need your help with helping me solve this. Now, again, I'm going to put a big, giant disclaimer here. There's a time and place for this. So it doesn't mean drop everything and interrupt them as much as you can batch it for the daily huddle, the weekly stakeholders meeting, or your got a minute time. This is not something that you say, especially like read the room, read the calendar, know your audience, and know what they have, what they're just walking out of and what they have coming before, what they're walking into. So you're not going to come to them when you see they have 10 minutes available and they have a high, either stress or high value client meeting they're about to walk into. There's a time and place for information. There's a time and place for making a dent in solving problems, but just pay attention to where the person just came from and what they're walking into, and ask yourself, can this wait? Is this the ideal time? Is this an absolute emergency? And 99.99% of the time, it's not even a client complaint, especially a client complaint, especially something that is highly sensitive and emotional like that and can just drain someone's confidence and increase their frustration. Can they wait until they get out of that client meeting? Because they're probably going to kill the deal because I always say you're responsible for the energy you bring in the room and the energy you leave in the room. So there's a time and place for that. Number 5, clarify and verify consistently on timelines, tasks, drive-by direction, project management, and SMRs. In fact, all comments become null and void if you are not clarifying and verifying. It is when you're giving something from your job, from your attorney, and so often people say, well, it's not my job to babysit my boss. Well, it is, and it's an absolute honor. If you shift your mindset into being a project manager and a leader, a case manager, whatever term resonates with you. I've had so many people Tony Robbins talks all the time about the 2 millimeter shift. So when you're given something, clarify and verify, especially if it's dumped on your desk. I need you to do this. Okay, great, real quick. I just want to clarify. you want me to drop everything right now because I'm in the thick of printing out documents for tomorrow's signing or whatever it might be, and you want me to do this right now. 9 out of 10 times it's no, or sometimes it's yes. And it's like, it yes, but you don't have to do it. Delegate it to Bobby or Susie or whomever. So a lot of times people will come to our open coaching hours hot and heavy and frustrated and feeling such like a victim. Like, oh my God, don't they see how busy I am? I was just working on X, Y, and Z. We talked about it in the daily huddle. I had these three priorities, and then they come and dump all this on my desk. Do they not see what I'm working on? I'm like, yep, they just want it off their desk. And so your desk is the hub, your desk is command central. And so if they're placing it on your desk, it doesn't mean drop everything and do this right now. Sometimes it might. And you need to clarify and verify. And also, again, going back to your boss, not a mind reader, remind them of what your top 3 are for the day. Remind them where you're at. If they're giving you something at 3:30 and you have very big looming deadline that you have to get done before you leave in 2 hours or whatever it might be, remind them. So like, oh, dang it, that's right. Okay, no, forget it. I'll go find someone else. Or can you go find someone else? And or if there's nobody else and you remind them of that, like, all right, it can wait until tomorrow. Or they might say, you know what, I'll just do it, forget it. But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being the leader that you are and the project manager that you are and reminding me. Do you see the difference? Number 6, trust your intuition. Employees, trust your intuition. So often you'll feel that niggle, you'll feel something, and then we'll hold on to stories and stuff. And that's where the problems are created. I don't love the word drama. I think people overuse it and misuse it. But trust your intuition. If you're unclear about what's being asked of you, or you feel your boss is upset with you, or you feel that you're underperforming, or you're not grasping your job description, you're not keeping up with the pace, you probably are right. So take responsibility for your own clarity and schedule a meeting or grab time with whoever you need to. And again, bring the problem to somebody who can actually do something about it, not a coworker or somebody else that you're just going to piss and moan about it, that they can't do anything. You want to schedule a meeting, grab time, do whatever you need to, because complaining that your boss didn't provide you enough, fill in the blank, direction, tools, training, time, whatever it is to succeed doesn't help your career, doesn't help the client, and absolutely doesn't help the law firm's performance, which we're all committed to. That's why we work for small business owners, why we work for entrepreneurs, why we work for solos. So if you're feeling something, I always say, name it and handle it in real time. So often people will hold on, especially with entrepreneurs. We say a lot of reckless stuff. We say so often, this is what I love about clarify and verify. Hang on, time out. I just want to clarify. You just said, and I'm so guilty of this. I really train my team to do this. And like, because as soon as you say that, hang on, or you do the timeout, people will pause. They'll stop. Like, what? What are you talking about? Wait, what just happened? You now did a pattern break and you have their attention. So I just want to clarify, you said X, Y, and Z. I probably did, but actually I'm glad that you reflected that back to me, because no, that's not right. Actually do this. And it's the same thing when you're feeling, trust your intuition about emotions, or if you're triggered, or you're feeling like I'm drowning here. I'm not grasping this. I'm new to the company. I'm new to the firm, and I'm feeling like I'm in the weeds. I feel like everybody's upset with me. I feel like people are frustrated with me. I feel like people avoid me because I ask 7,000 questions. And what have you? Trust it and name it and handle it. I promise you, your solution and your freedom and your excitement and your realignment is on the other end of that timeout that you conduct. All right, 7, courageous conversations in real time. I touch on this a little bit, but if something your boss or anyone really truly said can be interpreted 2 ways. I've heard someone say there's actually 3 sides to every story. What they said, what I heard, and what was actually intended. So a lot of times we make huge assumptions. And in my experience, it's not what they meant. We guarantee you that your boss did not mean it that way. The business world was built by adults for adults. So take responsibility for your own courageous conversations. Again, what I said at the beginning, all it takes is 20 seconds of insane courage. Schedule a meeting and discuss what was said. This goes for coworkers too. This goes for email, which I hate email. And yes, I use that strong word because there's so much inaccurate tonality and intentions in that. And especially in the law firm admin boot camp, so often people would come in, they're like, oh my God, my boss just sent all these scathing emails. Did you do blah, 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 blah? Why did you do blah, 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 blah? I'm like, they did not mean to bastardize you. They did not mean to beat you up at all. They're running fast and they're getting to the point. They do not start a busy entrepreneur by and large, unless they have a tremendous amount of time in training and coaching. They do not start, hi, Susie, I hope your day's going well. No, they just need to get to the bottom line. So have those courageous conversations. I'm not saying it's okay. If you all want to set up rules around, you're horrible at email and I'm the worst at it. I'm like, did you do blah, blah, blah? And my team's like, you're not allowed to send any more emails anymore because you're blowing us up. We know that your intentions are well, but at the end of the day, when we're busy and stressed, all it takes to get one more of those emails that land like a bomb. So can you just batch them for the daily huddle, or can you just send them all to Holly as our administrator and our director of operations and let her distribute it to people because she knows that what your calendar looks like, etc. So courageous conversations in real time is number 7. 8, own the 5 levels of delegation. I don't have time to go into it today. If you want a copy of the 5 levels of delegation, shoot me an email, reply to this podcast, whatever it might be. The 5 levels of delegation is by and large where you are telling your boss how you want it done because you know the process, you know the production, what have you, and you're getting really clear. Is this something you want me to do? Go research and come back and give you the information, which will be, level 2, level 1 being do exactly as you're told and come right back. And all the way to level 5 of handle it, make sure it's documented wherever it needs to be and I don't need an email. I don't need a follow-up. I completely, fully, wholly trust you. You already are probably known how to perform a certain task, communicate it, enroll. But when it comes time for the delegation, the reason attorneys hold on to stuff, and I hear this all the time, they're a control freak. They won't give up control. They won't delegate to us or what have you. It's because they don't have confidence. And I'm not saying in you, but by and large, we're always picking from our past or coming from our past experiences. And they remember the last assistant that they had, that they were so excited when they hired them and they seemed like they were a rock star and they gave them everything. And then it went into abyss and then the person quit. And then when they finally started digging around in their database and the desk and the files and what have you, there were horrific landmines in there. So own the 5 levels of delegation. If you're a team member and you're not in the law firm admin boot camp, you should be in there with us. We kick off on January 10th. Yeah, Tuesday, January 10th. If you need a copy of this, reach out to me. We did an entire class on this. Number 9, eliminate the words can't and don't in your law firm. Employees, gamify this, have fun. Go back. It's the same thing if I'm not prepared to answer this question right now. These are leadership language. I tell my team members and the admins in the program all the time, you are no longer allowed to say, we can't, or we don't, or I don't know how to. You're eliminating those limiting belief language. So another one to eliminate is the word nothing. If your boss or coworker, what have you, asks you what's wrong and you say nothing, they will believe you and will act like nothing's wrong. So, and the same thing for the boss, when there's thundering silence and they're stressed out or what have you. It's not just on the employee, but I'm going to ask you as leaders, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a legal leader, I'm going to ask you to really get clear on our language and what are the words we need to stop using in our firm. One of the things is busy. We talked about, I'm so proud by the end of the 12 weeks, I'd never heard the word busy ever again in the law firm admin bootcamp. They actually have jars on their desk that if anybody says the word, we're so busy, I'm too busy, I know the attorney's too busy. I said, if you're not busy, you're out of business. It's a mindset. It's a language, and language has a lot of power to it. Words matter. So eliminating, make the list of the words, can't, don't, nothing, I don't know. Eliminate those, because if you did know, what would you know? If you could do this, what would you do? So there's always a positive empowerment and empowering replacement for that. All right, number 10, last. If you ask a question you don't want an answer to, expect an answer you don't want to hear. So often people will ask questions and they don't want to they don't like the answer they're getting. So this goes into, we worked really hard on our core values within the program. And one of the core values that we have as a firm, many of them, is that, we ask upfront questions. We are truth tellers. We have one firm, brutal honesty is it. So working in a small law firm has many of its pros. And one that I love is there should not be office drama. You get to the heartbeat of the business owner. We make decisions in real time. We are self-accountable. We have a firm of accountability. And we understand that our boss is always being pulled in a million uncomfortable, uncontrollable directions, day in and day out. Working in a small law firm provides endless autonomy. Your boss is desperate for you to fully trust that you have permission, responsibility, authority to tell him or her what you need, what the firm needs, what your coworkers and other stakeholders needs, what's not working, where they're the biggest problem. Trust me, your boss isn't ignoring these things. They simply just can't see it while they're just entrenched in the day-to-day operations, client meetings, etc., marketing, speaking, all the things for the firm. That's why they surround themselves with key employees like you. That's why you're hired there. somebody they can depend on to tell them what's coming at them, what they need to clean up behind them. So if you ask a question you don't want the answer to, expect an answer you don't want to hear. And sometimes that brutal honesty and truth. So I tell the team members all the time, when you're going in, and by and large, you should not be asking questions, you should be coming with proposed solutions. But a lot of times it goes back to that time and place as well. A lot of times the reason you're getting the answer you don't like is because you just blew it out in the middle of back-to-back meetings or in a team meeting where it was wholly inappropriate for the time. So read the room, time and place on everything, and get really clear, because a lot of times when we don't like the answers that we're getting for the questions, it's because we came with a where we're delegating back up, where we weren't very clear on the who, what, why, when, how, especially the why, the impact, the cause and effect. And we're not coming to, and the time and place, the timing is absolutely off. So employees, these 10 tips, you got this. You are in full control of your destiny. Trust me, your attorneys, your entrepreneurs are begging for this from you. But it's all in the delivery, tonality, and language on how you get what you need and when you get what you need. But they really want you to step up and lead and use your voice. You have nothing to lose, and everything to gain. Just trust me. I promise you, your attorney is not a mind reader. They really, truly have no idea. They are getting their ass kicked all day. And yes, so are you, but from a very different lens, from a very different funnel in a different way. And that's why you're hired for the position that you were hired for. So if you are not in the Law Firm Admin Bootcamp, join us. We kick off on Tuesday, the 12th. Every Tuesday for 12 weeks, very methodical training on how to become an entrepreneur in the entrepreneur world, how to own your job description, how to own your KPIs, how to own the calendar. Every Thursday, we have live open coaching hours. We also have every Thursday, right after coaching hours, an entire training series on January this year. We're doing it all on how to build a referral-based system in your practice, which I'm super excited about to have Stacey Brown Randall there. March, we're going to be having sales intake and conversion. So everything on the phone, from intake to follow up to tracking to KPIs, what have you. And in March, we're doing a whole series for our Thursdays guest speaker series on law firm marketing. So Law Firm Admin Bootcamp, join me, join us. We will support you with becoming and having what you signed up for in a small law firm, which is really truly that freedom to support your attorney and to be able to manage the front of the house. All right, go forth. Let me know. Team members, reach out to me and let me know where you're jammed up, where you have victories, where you're having home runs with these top tips. Until next time, continue being a legal leader, leading a legal leader. This episode is being sponsored by Legal Ease Marketing. Listen, law firms have many ebbs and flows, and we tend to see this typical pattern. When things around the office are slow, lawyers get better at following up. But when the bustle is back, they tend to drop the ball. What if you had a system in place that not only automated follow-ups, but could guide potential clients seamlessly through the intake process and beyond? The team at Legal Ease works with your firm to create a custom pipeline of emails, text messages, and follow-up calls sent to your leads when you want them to be sent. Whether it's a consultation confirmation email sent a minute after the request goes through, long-term nurture emails sent 6 months later, a request for Google reviews sent to the most opportune times, they put a system in place that improves your client experience while taking tasks off of your plate. Or maybe you're already rolling in a software or CRM, but it's not set up as you want. Or perhaps you could be maximizing your automations more. Sometimes it's hard to tell what you need without a deep dive into your account. That's where legalese audits and analysis come in. First, their team will learn everything about your processes and how you intend them. Then they'll go through your automations and map out the needed changes. Lastly, you'll discuss a plan forward and how to make your optimized office a reality. Legalese team pushes the boundaries of what automation can do to help your firm operate in ways you think were possible. Don't let potential clients slip through the cracks by not following up with them. Schedule a consultation today with Legalese Marketing. They look forward to helping you create more time, consistency, and your KPIs. To learn more, go to legalesemarketing.com and book your free consultation call today. We've reached the end of another impactful conversation on the Hire and Empower podcast. Whether this was your first episode or you're a longtime listener, I know you can tell I have passion for people. Whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, or hiring manager, I understand the situation you're in. Hiring, onboarding, and leadership is expensive, exhausting, overwhelming, and if that's not enough, it's also time-consuming. My friends, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a team at H&E that has your back. For over 25 years, they've transformed over 4,000 law firms into efficient, effective, profitable assets for their business and made it fun to come to work again. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, and the 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com.